again, my YouTube friends. I'm Kelly. Welcome to my channel and to this video. I'm going to be working on this quilt again. I'm just going to get started. And my friend Susan is also doing this quilt the same because she has the same pattern. So we're going to sort of coordinate our upload schedule together. Now, I'm doing it pretty much like that. That's how mine's going to look because I'm using the called for Kona solids. And Susan's doing hers in batiks. So hers is going to look different, but they will both turn out pretty cool, I think. And we'll compare notes when we're done, more than likely. Stick around and we'll see how this goes.
When we printed up the pattern on the 11 by 17 inch paper, it didn't quite print the edge good. So I just went on the PDF on my laptop that I had and just wrote in what was missing, just so I knew. So you sort of get the idea where piece 1 and piece 2 go together and make a triangle, right? And then it tells you to do 3 and 4 together, and then 5 and 6 together, and then make that one big thing together with both of those. Then do 7, 8, and 9 as one chunk, sew it to that, etc., etc. That's pretty much how you do this entire quilt, just putting some together and then sewing them together from there.
So piece number 1 is just one big piece. It's background, charcoal, and it goes at the top middle part of the pattern. The assembly diagram only specifies piece 2, but piece number 2 actually is in 3 chunks. 2A is the same background charcoal, and then there's a little piece that gets sewn to it, and that's paprika, and then there's a big piece that's also paprika. And when it's done, it'll be piece 2. To make sure that I have enough fabric, I am cutting out the large pieces that I need first. And I measured up some of the pattern pieces, so around 15 inches or so would work for most of them. So this piece of charcoal background is 15 inches by the width of the fabric. And most of the large pieces I have to do are actually from the charcoal background. And they're one piece, like that, and like that one, and like piece 1 was. So that should be fairly easy to do. At the moment, I'm just organizing them like that, making sure they all go along in some fashion, puzzle piece style. I gotta fiddle around with it a bit, and then I'm just pinning them and cutting them out loosely for now. I'll tidy them up later before I actually sew with them. I'm just using my scissors, and I'm going to cut these out loosely. And when there's an area where I have extra like this, I save it just in case I need a little piece for something. I'll scoot that out of the way for right now. Same down here. Go close along there. There's a piece. And closely along there. There's a piece, etc., etc. These 2 pattern pieces are the next largest ones I have to use, and they are just 15 inches from the seam allowance corner to there. So my next piece of charcoal fabric, I'm going to cut across at 16 inches by width of fabric, and I can probably do all the rest of these large pieces. For all of these large pattern pieces that are just one piece and one fabric, I pinned them to start with to cut them out, but what I'm going to do is put a small bit of basting spray in the middle and then spread the pattern out. And what I've been doing so far is going around in the seam allowance between that line and the dotted line and doing basting stitch just to keep it held together. And then I trim it close to the dotted line for the seam allowance when I'm ready to sew them together. This is piece 22, so I'll be needing it coming up. There's a whole pile of them that are up in the 80s and 90s. I'm not going to touch those yet. I'm just doing the ones that I will likely be needing relatively soon and putting them aside ready to go. I'll show you piece 1 to see what it looks like. And there's my design wall started. I've got pattern pieces pinned up that I'm going to be working on shortly. That's piece 6. I've got odds and ends of fabric. That's mahogany, sort of a darkish red. That's paprika. That's fog. Down here is piece 1 that I already showed you. Background only, ready to go. Piece 2 has been assembled from background and 2 pieces of paprika. And piece 3 is on its own, autonomous, with 1 piece of mahogany. I'll carry on working on getting the pieces assembled, and then eventually I will start sewing all of the pieces together.